Well, hello everybody. I'm here to do a surprise live stream. I love doing these surprise live streams. Don't know who's going to be able to be here to watch them, but that's kind of the fun of it. Try to do them at different times in the day just to switch things up and see who's available. Leave me a comment and say hi. I think you're watching either on YouTube or on my Facebook page, but I've got some epic collections to unbox or unbag in unenvelope in this case. So we're going to take a look. I also have this box here. So we have a few to talk about today. So what do you say we just get to it, you know? Let's just get started and see what's here. Oh, I like this here. Carlos says, I was about to go to bed. Sorry about that. You're going to have to stay up a little longer and see what is in here. Oh, Nick also says hi. Hi, Nick. And Germ3090. Is that Jeremy, maybe? Could be. I don't know. Okay, so this is the Thor Epic Collection. This one's called Hell on Earth. And it is volume 22. We are getting to the very end. This is the second to last volume before Heroes Reborn. We already have the one after this. It's called World Engine, and we have all of the ones before that, which is the Mark Grun. No, sorry, not Mark Grunwald run. The DeFalco run, and the Ron Mars takes over after that. James says hi. Hi, James. T. Butler says, hey, Curtis, just dropping in to say hi and to leave a like. Can't stick around, unfortunately. Yeah, that's too bad. Rip to John Romita, an absolute legend. Yeah, John Romita passed away just a couple days ago. Sad news because he was a giant, and there aren't very many people from that era of Marvel left. Just a small handful. Okay, Thor Epic Collection. What was I talking about here? Let me look at my little map. This gives us an unbroken run of Thor from volume 16, War of the Pantheons. That's the start of the DeFalco run. The DeFalco run, all the way to World Engine, which is Heroes Reborn. And then Thor, who wasn't part of Heroes. I mean, he was part of Heroes Reborn, but his title didn't go over to the Heroes Reborn world. His title turned back into Journey into Mystery, and they played out this story called The Lost Gods, and that's actually going to be in one of the next Thor Epic collections that will be collected in 2024. So, shall we have a look in here? Philip had a question. He asked me this just earlier, like an hour ago. He said, does the inside cover, the listing, have any of the upcoming epics? Like, have they started listing them off because they're not showing up on Amazon or something? Well, I don't know if you can see there, but there's the Clone Saga, which is coming January 2024. That's the Spider-Man title. And, oh, yeah, Blade is in here. Blade Volume 2, Night Stalkers. So they're pretty up-to-date with this listing here. That's pretty good. What else is on this list? X-Factor, Judgment War is on here. And Death Watch, Moon Knight Death Watch. The Lost Gods, Thor the Lost Gods is on here as well. So there you go. It doesn't list any of the modern era epic collections because that is a completely different thing here. Oh, Steven says he was also going to go to bed. Well, I'm glad you're here, Steven. Oh, you'll watch on the replay. That's fine. I'll forgive that. Okay, so this is, let me see here. The first issue in this book looks like John Buscema. That's kind of cool. Executioner or Scourge versus Loki. Let's see if I can get some credits here. Yeah, John Buscema. That's right. Doing stuff in the 90s. Big John, looking just like he did when he was doing Conan. Pretty nice. Very, very cool. There's some Thunderstrike action for you right there. Carlos wants to know where you can buy used epics in Europe. Everyone sends to USA. Yeah, I mean, international shipping is just ridiculous. If anyone can help out Carlos, let him know. in the Facebook group, in the Epic Facebook group, you can let him know. Or if any of you Europeans are selling Epics, tag him in your post because he really would like to know where you can get some used ones. There's some original art there of that cover of Avengers Annual 23. That's pretty cool. That's not what this book is, though, is it? Avengers Annual 23. Oh, it is. What does this collect? It collects Thor numbers 476 to 490 plus Annual 19 and the material from Avengers Annual 23, because I assume it relates. The rest of this art is by MC Wyman, I think. And there's a kind of a cool cover for the Thor Annual. Let's see, let's get some of this action here. Thor has a weird costume at this time. He's got like this heavy metal outfit. Look at that gap, right? The gutter loss right in there. Can't even see. Who is that? Red Norval, maybe? Look how big he is. This is the 90s. Phil says, John's pencils look beautiful in black and white. They always do. He is one of the greatest. That's for sure. The rest of these guys, you know, they have their moments. Some of it's great. Others is, you know, very 90s looking. Looks like they're going to fight High Evolutionary. I have not read any of this material before because I never had an interest in Thor growing up. But ever since reading through the DeFalco stuff, it's kind of cool. Armor and the Man God. Look at that guy. That Loki? It is Loki. What kind of armor is that, Loki? He's succumbed to the 90s as well. And there's Thor versus War Machine. That's going to be a big battle there. Thor, and I'm assuming is that Sif. Yep, it's Sif. Thor and Sif. That's actually a nice image right there by Sandu Florea. Or Florea. That's kind of cool. Yeah, I like that. And then we have Thor versus the Thing. He's just going through all the Marvel Universe here. This is the era where, in the DeFalco run, the Thing gets slashed by Wolverine. And so his rocks are kind of coming apart on that side there. Got some scarring. Also written by DeFalco. He was on both titles at the same time, I guess. So does that timing work out? There's a High Evolutionary again. Okay, so sorry about my nose here. I'm suffering from allergies. This is a big fat book. It has over 500 pages. It has the $50 price tag on it, unfortunately for you. $62.50 in Canada. Okay, we got some more questions here. Hi, Kurtis. I read Uncanny X-Men Omni 1 and 2, but want to jump around. What X-Men Epic Collection should I get? Where is the Jim Lee stuff in Epic format? We don't have all of the Jim Lee stuff, the pre-relaunch Jim Lee stuff, that is. We have Disillusion, Volume 17, Disillusion and Rebirth, and Volume 19, Mutant Genesis. I believe those are the only two Jim Lee volumes we have so far. And then, of course, we have the post-reboot stuff, which is at the very end of Mutant Genesis, and then going into Volume 20, Bishop's Crossing, and then he doesn't stay much longer than that. Let's see. Everybody calls me Tony. Just popping into your stream because I'm going to a convention in Philadelphia. Do you have any advice for looking for epics at a convention? Well, that's a great question. I don't really have any advice for looking for epics. Every vendor does it a different way. Sometimes they have all of their trades displayed nicely. Sometimes they're in boxes, and I don't know. I always tell myself, and I've been telling my kids since they've been coming with me to some of these things, is don't buy the first epic you see or the first thing you see. You gotta tour around the whole convention to see where the deals are first, and then spend your money. Try to make notes. Of course, you risk it, someone else buying that thing you really, really want. But if you spend all your money in the first booth, then you don't have anything else for the rest of the day, Axel says he got the She-Hulk epic earlier this week. Don't have time to read it, though. That's my problem as well. I've been so busy with work. I have not been able to do very much reading at all. It's been kind of a shame. But I'm hoping that once June passes, maybe I'll be able to get back on the reading train. Okay. Let's see what's in here. Oh, sorry. Oh, there's 3 in here. Okay, we'll tackle this one first because it is the reprint of X-Men Volume 7, The Fate of the Phoenix. Now, this one is, I think, going to be welcome to a lot of people because the first edition of this, when it came out first, it was it was not well received because the paper was so thin. It's so incredibly thin. This looks like it has a different cover. Let me just a second. I gotta Google the other X-Men cover here because oh yeah. So this one has a blue logo, just like Second Genesis also has a new blue logo. They put the era appropriate X-Men logo on the cover of this for the new edition. So you can easily identify it if you're in a store buying it from somebody else. The first edition has a red logo. But the paper, let's take a look at this. Who does the printing? Solisco. So it's got exactly the same paper as we've been seeing in the epics for the last almost 2 years now, I think, maybe even more. It's really, really nice. This is way better than it was before. Where's that page that had a lot of white on it that made it really obvious? I can't remember where that was. But this one, I mean, there's always going to be a tiny little bit of bleed because that's just the nature with white paper. But this one already looks 100 times better. I think I'm going to upgrade my own copy to this new edition. Second edition, I think they're calling it, right? Let me just double check that as well. X-Men second edition, first printing, 2023. There you go. Dang it, another upgrade. Not all of the ones are worth upgrading, but this one I think definitely deserves an upgrade because the paper was so thin. I've just read the first 3 Wolverine epics. Really looking forward to Volume 4. Hope we don't have to wait too long. Yeah, I hope we don't have to wait too long, too. I would really like to get that one out, too. Do you think they'll collect Heroes Reborn in epic collections? I do think so, especially now that we've seen the starting point of a lot of the modern era epic collections, that they're going to start kind of after the Heroes Reborn era. After the Heroes Return era. That means I think that we will see the Heroes Reborn and Heroes Return in the classic era as well. If you can believe that it's old enough to be considered classic, but it is. If you don't have this volume, it's really, really good. This is some of the best X-Men stuff out there. This is John Byrne and Chris Claremont doing X-Men at its finest. We have not just the Dark Phoenix saga, but also the Days of Future Past is also in here. We have the coming of Shadowcat in these early issues. Lots of Sentinel stuff. A lot of fun. Great volume. Well worth picking up. And there are Phoenix Untold, the Untold Story #1, material from Marvel Treasury Edition 26 and 27, and Marvel Team Up 100, and then also just a ton of bonus material in the back there. Really, really solid book. Definitely worth getting if you don't have this already. Okay, Carlos asks a very important question. What exactly is Heroes Reborn? Marvel in the 90s was in big trouble. They were floundering as a company. Their sales were in the tank because of the higher ups were making really bad business decisions, and comics just weren't selling like they used to. And so they were about to file for bankruptcy, actually. They had sold off all their movie rights, which is why different companies have the rights to do different Marvel movies. Like Sony has Spider-Man, and Universal has the Hulk. And for the longest time, Fox had X-Men and Fantastic Four because they wanted Marvel was just trying to keep their head afloat at the time. And so one of the things that they did was they tried to revigorate some of their titles that were lagging in. Some of them were lagging in sales, but we're talking about the Avengers titles and Fantastic Four. So they handed those titles over to the guys at Image, like Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld. Those were the two main guys that were kind of spearheading this, and they did their take on the characters. They sent them off to a different dimension, and they started the stories all over again. So the new number ones, and it started with an updated version of their origin story, how they got their powers and all that kind of stuff, and told in a more Image-like way. So it had the typical Image artwork and that kind of thing. That lasted for a year, and I don't know if that's all they were contracted to do, or if the sales weren't where they were wanting to, or Marvel was just in a better financial position by that point. But they eventually brought all of their characters back to the main 616 timeline, and they called that Heroes Return. So that's Heroes Reborn. It's just a self-contained story. It's 12 issues with a bonus 13 issues featuring Wildstorm characters that won't be reprinted in the Epic collections. But there you go. Hope that answers your question. There's lots of information on Heroes Reborn. If you look up YouTube videos or if you search online, there's so much information up there because it was a very interesting time for Marvel Comics. And speaking of Heroes Reborn, one of the things that came out of Heroes Reborn was because New York City and the world was facing a loss of heroes, because all of a sudden in the main 616 universe, the Avengers were gone and Fantastic Four was gone. So we got a new team of heroes. This group, headed up by this guy named Citizen V. This is called the Thunderbolts, and they came to help everybody because of the lack of heroes at that time. And so now we have an Epic collection collecting this stuff, and the Thunderbolts had a very, very long run, and then it's been on and off again over the years. And of course now they have a movie coming out, which I think has just been delayed by some time, according to sources online. But this is Thunderbolts number 1, volume 1, a new Epic line. Looks like we're going to get yellow, sort of a mustard yellow color, and a red stripe right there. And there's if you can see the corner box, can't really tell what that is. It's what's her name, Moonstar, is that her name? And Mach 8 or something like that. These two guys, I can't remember their names very well. This, I remember buying this when it first came out. Oh yeah, here we go. So all of these heroes are gone. They died, they don't know what to do, and so new heroes rise. And there is a big secret. In fact, I don't know how much of this book I can show you. Moonstone, thank you, Axel Plate. Moonstone is her name. What did I say? I can't remember now. There's a big twist at the very end of the first issue that I don't want to give away, but this had an all-star group of Kurt Busiek and Mark Bagley on art. Mark Bagley, fresh off of his long stint on Spider-Man, and so we have a bunch of characters like Songbird and Atlas, and it's a great team. I really liked. I like these. I don't remember how long I stuck on this title. It was maybe I got to issue 25. I definitely got to when Jolt joins the team here, Jolt. But this is a lot of fun stuff. So if you want to try out something new, something a little bit different that Marvel was doing in the 90s, I do recommend this because it's a good book. There's the back cover. Hold on, I have to mute myself for a second. Okay, that's 3 that we've talked about so far. In case you've missed it, you can watch it on the replay. We talked about Thor, Hell on Earth. We talked about the reprint of Fate of the Phoenix, and talked about Thunderbolts, Justice Like Lightning, Volume 1. There's one more in this box here. Spider-Man, Volume 9. How about that? This one is called Spider-Man or Spider Clone. This is the good stuff. This is well, I mean, this is some of the good stuff. There's a lot of great stuff in the history of Spider-Man, but I like this era a lot. Jerry Conway and Len Wein, Ross Andrew on art. Here's the back cover. This is the very first Clone Saga, Volume 9, as we can see here. $45 cover price. Collecting Spider-Man 143 to 164, an annual 10. The first appearance of Ben Reilly. That's right, there he is, right on the back cover. Phil Owens says he's looking very much to this. Kuru Mayas says he really liked the series, referring to Thunderbolts. The movie will bear more like a later team of Thunderbolts. Yeah, that's right. The movie's not going to look like this new team at all, although it would be kind of cool if they tried to do that. Are the epics now released in chronological order? Sort of. Epics, these long-running titles like Spider-Man, get 2 epics a year. One epic is from the 60s, 70s, and those ones have been all released in order, 1, 2, 3. And so 9 is the most recent in that line. And then the later epics, kind of, they jump around more, but they also tend to start someplace and go into in chronological order till they hit maybe like the end of a creator run or something like that. But they're generally more out of order. I think that is the character known as Kane on the cover, on the back cover here. Could be. I don't actually remember. I don't remember who's who. It's been a long time since I've read these issues. I'm gonna have to look. I'm gonna have to read them myself and find out. But here's a look at some of the insides here. Sorry about that. Ross Andrew is great. I think he's an underrated artist. A lot of people compare him, of course, to John Romita and Gil Kane and stuff, but he holds his own, and he has that very similar kind of house style in the Romita style. Not quite as great as Romita, which is why the comparisons come, I think, but still a solid Spidey artist. There's Sandman. Look at that. It's just classic. That's Spider-Man in the 70s. This is 1975 to 1977. Let's see what else. I think Mary Jane was dating Flash Thompson at the time. Yes, rest in peace, John Romita Sr. This is some great Spidey stuff. What is your favorite #1 epic? Like the actual volume 1? That's a hard question. Would it be cheating to say Generation X? I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that. There are some great #1s, like Spider-Man, of course. Spider-Man #1 is fantastic. Boy, let me just, what's my list here? So many good. I liked Black Panther Volume 1, Marvel 2-in-1 Volume 1. Moon Knight was half good. I liked Punisher. No, that was Punisher Volume 2. Wolverine Volume 1 I liked. Iron Man #1 is good. Hulk #1 got some good stuff. Actually, I really like Ant-Man Volume 1, believe it or not. Okay, I think that movie Thunderbolts are underpowered. Yeah, we'll have to see. It depends on what kind of threat they're up against. The Thunderbolts book is outstanding. It's some of the best stuff to come out of the 90s. Yeah, and I credit that a lot of Kurt Busiek. He is a great writer. So that that definitely helped. Kind of, I don't know if it was that or Marvel's that put him on the map, but both of those together are kind of his bread and butter through the 90s and Astro City. Now that Rom and Micronauts are back at Marvel, do you think they may take the chance to reprint the Power Man and Iron Fist epic that was missing the crossover issue? I would love that. I think that would be a great idea. If they'll do that, I don't know. They better print a lot of copies of that one, though, because a lot of people, everybody who bought the first will upgrade that sucker, and once the deal is expired, they'll never reprint it again like that. So that will be an interesting time. I would love to see that. If not, I really want to see some ROM epic collections, and we can at least get that issue of Power Man and Iron Fist in that book. So that would be really, really good. Morbius #1 is great. Yeah, actually, that one is good. I like that one a lot too. Which of these books are you most looking forward to reading? It's going to be a toss-up between these two because this one goes up to, only issue number 12. Yeah, I've read all of this before, and I would love to revisit again because I haven't read it in 20 years or something like that, 25 years. This one I'm really looking forward to as well. I don't know. It's a kind of a toss-up between these two books. So I might say Thunderbolts. No Fantastic Four #1. Spider-Man #1 is amazing. No, I see. Fantastic Four #1 is fantastic. Spider-Man, yeah. Okay, I get the joke. What's my top 5 epic series? Good question. They're not, I mean, Spider-Man, I love Spider-Man. I think it's consistently great all the way, even through a lot of the Clone Saga. Fantastic Four, I think, is up there for sure. Moon Knight, I've enjoyed. I haven't read any of the Mark Spector stuff yet, really, so maybe that's not going to be a great title, but the first 3 volumes I think I would put right up there. The problem is with some of these long-running titles, it's like, can I really say that Daredevil is one of the top 5, even though I really like some of those volumes, but then some of them are not great, so it like brings down the average. I'm not sure. Hulk actually has surprised me. It's been consistently great with all of the volumes that I've read so far. I never was a Hulk fan until I started reading these epics, and they're actually really good. Do you think that Predator will get epics just like Aliens? I really do think we will see that. A matter of time. I'm not sure when, but I'm definitely counting on that. Marvel's was a huge hit. It sure was, wasn't it? It was really good. Really looking forward to reading those Thunderbolts issues. So let's see. The dates on these, our release schedule. Thor is coming out on July the 18th. July 18th is the street date for this one. And then Thunderbolts is going to be the 18th as well. They're coming out on the same day. So you get a double shot of T-titled superheroes on that day. And then X-Men Fate of the Phoenix is the following week on the 25th, July 25th. And then Amazing Spider-Man is also July 25th. So those two are coming out on the same day. So there you go. That's what's coming out in the last half of July. And then the only other book coming out in July. Oh, we have 2 other books. Star Wars Tales of the Jedi is the week before Thor, and then Deadpool Volume 3, Dead Reckoning is the first week of July. So there you go. Those are your epic sneak peeks. I'm falling behind in my video making on YouTube. I'm doing my little overviews because I've just been so swamped at work, but I have time for a little live stream that don't require a whole lot of editing like this. Aliens has epics. Any volumes out now? Okay, So Epic 1, Volume 1 of it's the original Dark Horse stuff. Epic, the Aliens Epic stuff, or sorry, the Aliens Dark Horse stuff is all in Epic Volume 1, and there's a Volume 2 coming out in 2024. And when you were talking, someone was asking about my favorite #1 volume, might be Aliens, because that volume is super great. I'd never read any of that stuff before, and it was really, really, really good. Who printed the X-Men Epic, since the first one had binding issues? Okay, so yeah, we talked about this a little earlier, but if you didn't catch that part of the stream, I will say Solisco, the same company who's doing all of the epics right now, has done this one too. It looks like a solid book. There's a good amount of glue in that spine, so those pages aren't going to fall out. And just the paper itself is a lot thicker, which was a problem with the original printing. This one has a new blue logo on it with an era-appropriate logo, so you can look for that if you're looking for the new edition with better paper. So, yes, hope that answers your question, JV. I'm excited about the new Avengers Epic Collection coming soon, since the Omni hasn't been reprinted and it's super expensive. Which one is that? Is that The Gathering? Because that's the Avengers Epic that's coming up pretty soon. The Gathering, and then what's the other one? Yesterday's Quest, which is the Korvac saga, is coming out in September. So either of those. There are a bunch of Avengers Omnis, the classic Avengers Omnis, like the original stuff. All of those are being reprinted, I think, sometime around now or later this year. Carlos says, how do you think Marvel will handle the Spider-Verse event in the modern epics? Well, the Spider-Verse story did get its own thick trade. It was really thick. It was I think it was over 600 pages or something like that. They'll probably just do that. They'll probably just rebrand that as a modern era epic collection. That's my guess. I've read Aliens, but in Omni format. Looking forward for Volume 2 reprint. A reprint of the Volume 2 Omnibus. Yeah, I don't know anything about those. They must have been popular. If they're going on to print, that's good. Oh, the new Avengers Modern Era Epic Collection. That's what Richard was talking about. And what's the other comment? I'm excited about the new Avengers Epic Collection. Yeah, okay, sorry, I misunderstood you. Yes, those Brian Bendis complete collections, they are pricey. They went out of print and they did shoot up in price, didn't they? Yeah, so New Avengers is coming out in Volume 1 will be out in August, the end of August. And then Volume 2 is scheduled for June of 2024. Korvac Saga was some of my first comics. It has the original Guardians. I am a fan of them ever since then. Yeah, that's really cool. And so the Korvac Saga is also coming out in the second Guardians of the Galaxy Epic Collection as well, which is out in March of 2024. Jose is also looking for the Bendis Avengers and also the Dark Avengers. Yeah, that's coming at the beginning of 2024. Hyped for Star Wars Volume 1 Modern Era Epic Collection. Yeah, me too. I think that'll be really great to see how they're going to map that out. Not read the Korvac Saga before. Really looking forward to Avengers Yesterday Quest. Yeah, that's one of those great classic stories. There's a lot to love about Korvac Saga. That was one of the first trades I ever had many years ago. It had a yellow border. I don't know if any of you remember that. I don't have it anymore, but I read it a lot. A Dark Reign Epic Collection would be amazing. Yeah, they haven't really done any event Epic Collections, so I'm not sure how they will handle that. I wonder if Marvel looks at the prices of their old books. Sorry, I wonder if Marvel looks at the prices some of their old books go for when deciding to reprint stuff. I definitely think that's a factor, but the biggest thing is that we run a poll on the near mint condition YouTube page. Usually, we've done it in February of the past couple of years, and the top 20 releases, or the top 20 most popular voted Epic Collections make up Marvel's list. We pass that on to them, and that's all of the reprints that came out and that are coming out in 2023 are made up of that list. And I think this is a great time to tell you that we have the list of reprints now for 2024 from February to July. Nothing in January. I don't have any. Maybe they're going to give us something, but it might be a surprise. And there are a lot of reprints. Let me see. I counted. How many did I count in this list here? 14 reprints. So that's pretty good. There will be a lot of books that I've seen a lot of people asking about in the Facebook group. So I think a lot of you are going to be happy with this. And for the ones of you who are not happy and your volume that you really want isn't out quite yet, you're just going to have to be a little bit more patient. If it's in the top 20, it's going to be on that list, I think. There will be a couple of surprises, I think, in there, thrown in there as well. Just saying. And we might do this tomorrow. We might reveal the reprint list tomorrow morning. I think we're just waiting on one final confirmation, but Omar is working on that one. What if Lucas buys back Star Wars? I don't think that that's actually a possibility. There's probably some provisions in the contracts that like no takesies backsies. Have a great rest of your day, Curtis. Hope you, enjoy the content you put out. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Richard. Appreciate it. Will Tomb of Dracula ever get Epic Collections, or at least a reprint? It will. David Gabriel, head of sales, the president of sales at Marvel, has actually stated that Tomb of Dracula, if it ever comes, when it comes back to print in paperback, it will be as an Epic Collection. So you can just rest assured that you will be able to get those volumes again. When will the reprints be announced? We're working on that. I think we're hoping for tomorrow morning. It will be like 8:30 my time, Pacific, 8:30 Pacific in the morning. That's like 8:30, 9:30, 11:30 Eastern. How many X-related titles are there? Right now, let's see here. There are Epic lines for X-Men, X-Factor, Excalibur, Wolverine, Deadpool, X-Force, and Generation X. Oh, and New Mutants. That's all of the X-related titles. I think that there's a lot of volumes there if you are into the X stuff. Tomb of Dracula Epics confirmed. Yeah, we don't know when this is coming though. No date announced. Have no idea. It's 8:30 in how many hours? It's 1:05 here. That's going to be over 12 hours because it's not 8 o'clock here yet. We're only at 4 o'clock. So 12, 13, 16 hours from now, I'm going to go to bed in that time and have a good night's sleep later on before, and then wake up nice and fresh for epic reprint reveals. If we can get all of that sorted with Marvel. But I think we're going to do it. We'll see. We'll give an announcement pretty soon. There you go. Well, I think that's it for my live stream. Just to reiterate, if you came in late, we have Thunderbolts Volume 1, Justice Like Lightning. We have Spider-Man Volume 9, Spider-Man or Spider-Clone, a reprint of X-Men Fate of the Phoenix, and also Thor, filling in a gap here, Thor Volume 22, Hell on Earth. So that's a great bunch of epics there for you. I hope everybody enjoyed this live stream, and I will see you probably next week when I get a few more. Take care, everybody. Oh, whoops. Let's go back and get my theme song to take us out. See ya.